excited to have this opportunity to discuss the subject. It's a global subject. So, how long is the delay? Do you know?
Well, right now it is connecting to Zoom
You,
to YouTube.
YouTube? Okay.
Yeah, it
So
takes
just
a
bear
little
with us
while.
a minute, membership people. We're just going to hook up to Zoom here and then we'll do the.
Okay, we are live, Tina, so I will turn it over to you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining Carol, Morgan, and me tonight. For those of you that are not members in the Channeling Jesus community, this is Carol Morgan. You know who I am. This is Carol Morgan. She is my business manager and I would say best friend. We talk almost every single day. And she is an amazing channel, and she channels a being called Xina Allen. And she began channeling about 6.5 years ago or so. And I'll just let her tell you who Xena Allen is because I will be channeling Jesus for half an hour and then Carol will be channeling Xena for half an hour. So go ahead,
Thank you.
Carol.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Tina, and for the invitation. This was Tina's idea, so I am just very grateful to be a part of this unprecedented event. As Tina says, my name is Carol Morgan, and Xina Allen, who I channel, is Blue Avian Consciousness. They were introduced to me in Taiwan while Tina was channeling Jesus there. And ever since, their relationship with me has evolved, it has changed. And now our mission is to help humanity break free. So, what we're doing today is very much in alignment with their mission. So, once again, thank you for being here. Really, really appreciate it.
So the way this is going to work is I will channel Jesus for half an hour, then Carol will channel Xena Allen for half an hour, and then we will do Q&A for half an hour. So if when you're asking a question on YouTube, those of you on Zoom can just ask the question in the chat like you normally do. Those of you on YouTube, if you would like to ask a question, please put on it whether the question is for Jesus or Xena. So that way we'll alternate or take turns on whoever's answering those questions. So there's been quite a lot of kerfuffle going on in America over Elon and Trump. And of course, it's sending ripples around the world to Ukraine, to Israel, all over the place, to Canada, where I'm from. And so we wanted to do this event so that we could go into some detail about what's happening from a spiritual point of view. Now, I understand everybody has very strong political opinions, but if you're here, part of the reason we're doing this is so that you can get a higher view of what's going on and not be stuck in the ego's anger or judgment or fear. So I will bring Jesus through now, and we will see what he has to say about Trump and Elon transforming America and ripples around the world. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. You are here for a reason. You have been drawn to this live stream for a reason. So, the first thing we would like you to do is to just accept that you are here for your benefit and that your consciousness is a match for this information. What we want you to understand at this time is that we have been giving this message for quite a while on this channel, which is that there is a massive transformation coming to your planet, and it is part of the ascension process. When you encounter change in your ego mind, for those of you that do not understand what the ego mind is, we will tell you briefly. It is the part of your mind that believes in separation. It is the part of your mind that believes in death and fear. And it is the part of your consciousness that has brought you into this body-mind complex at this time. Unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, does not require a body and any kind of individuality in the form that you are experiencing. And so just being in a human body in this time on this planet in the ascension experience is a challenge for you because part of you is connected to spirit, part of you believes in ego. And so, what you're witnessing at this time, as these immense changes are just beginning, you all went through some big changes in 2020, 2021, and 2022. That was a big wave of transformation and revelation. Many of you saw things for what they were for the first time during those years. What this is a second iteration of evolution. Now, those of you that are against what is happening, we have some very good news for you. You too are going to evolve, even if you don't agree with what is happening. How can this happen? Well, what is happening is a breakdown of the old systems. And as you can witness, even in the last day or so, the ripples splashing around the planet are causing all global leaders to shift and change their behavior. This is coming from a place of fear for most of them because the old system is not working anymore, and the new kid in town, or the new kids in town, are causing some waves and ruffling some feathers. So the old systems, the ones that have been in charge for a very long time, are panicking. They're panicking because their source of energy is shifting and changing, and they do not know how to cope with it. And so they are scrambling to try and maneuver and control the effects of the decisions that are being made in the United States. The decisions that are being made in the United States are part of the blueprint of the two most influential people involved in those decisions. You know them as Donald Trump and Elon Musk. These beings have assignments on this planet, as all beings have assignments on this planet. They have come in as disruptive influencers who seek to strengthen freedom and dissipate fear. Now, those of you that disagree with what they are doing, you are feeling fear. What we want you to understand at this time in your evolution is that you need to see what you are afraid of. And you cannot see what you are afraid of until you are poked a little bit with a stick. So, for example, if you are in a long-term marriage and one of you is dependent on the other for income, there is a bond that is often strengthened by the, we will say, less wealthy of the two beings to stick together because the idea of losing the income is terrifying. This is really what's happening to many, what you would say are on the left. They have been in a marriage where they have been supported financially. They have been in a marriage where their weaknesses have been supported by the government, not only in the United States, but the global system of government. And we will tell you this. There has been, up until this point, a global government. You witnessed it during the COVID epidemic, a global government. When countries all respond en masse in the same way, you know that there is something afoot. And that was your first clue that the national boundaries that you believe in are not as you suspect. However, with these disruptive influences gaining power, we will say, within the United States of America, these two beings are not part of a global governance system. They have, in their blueprint, been given an opportunity to assist in the ascension process. Now, those beings that are on the left, as you call it, or who are deeply enmeshed with the global government, are very, very unhappy about what is happening because they are not in control of this process. And so we want to bring forth this information so that those of you who are fearful understand that you have been wrapped in a big fuzzy blanket of government spending, and now the blanket is being pulled off. It's been around you for a long time, whether you are a government employee, whether you are working for established systems such as banking, such as the school system, such as immigration, these kinds of systems. They are now, those beings that are in those established systems feel vulnerable. And we want you to understand this, that the ego consciousness within which you have been raised, that has been strengthened and fed by your society, are being given an opportunity to strengthen yourself, to not be coddled. So we will tell you about, for example, a teenager who is living at home in their parents' house. They turn 20, they turn 22, they turn 24, and they stay in the house. They stay with their mother cooking the meals. They stay with their finances being taken care of. And there comes a point when all of you understand that it's important for that being to leave home, stretch their wings, strengthen their wings, and find their way in the world. And this is the situation that many people on the left find themselves in at this time. Why? Because the global governance system has been supporting weakness. It has been supporting codependence. And when you are in a weakened state, and you have been put into a weakened state by your television shows, your movies, your diet, your medications, you have been put into a weakened state. And so it is very, very appealing and very, very comforting to be looked after by somebody. So what you are seeing now with these new appointments in this new government, you are seeing beings who are not going to coddle you. They are not going to give you everything that you have had, just like the 25-year-old living in the basement. At some point, mom and dad come downstairs and say, we're not paying for your Wi-Fi anymore. We're not paying for your phone anymore. You need to get a job and you need to look for somewhere else to live. What does that young being feel when it has been coddled, when it has been nurtured in this way? Overly nurtured, we will say. This is what is happening to many beings around the planet, not through any fault of their own. They have been, through your social media systems, taught to do this. You have been taught in your school systems to bow down to authority, to do as you're told, to only speak when asked. You have all been indoctrinated in this way, and you were told that it was your education and that it was good for you. But you have all been through this indoctrination program. And so from the deepest parts of your personality, you are now being challenged. For those of you that are excited about what is happening, we want you to understand that you are in alignment with the shifts and changes that are being forced upon the world. Forced upon the world, that seems like a dramatic thing to say. Indeed, it is forced upon those who do not on the surface agree because of their political leanings. But we will tell you this. Everyone on this planet has been praying. Everyone on this planet wants to be free. Many people changed their minds during 21 and 22 when there were intense restrictions placed upon your freedom. And many of you woke up during that 2 or 3 year period to the desire to be free. Other beings aligned with the desire to be looked after and, we will say, ordered around. So what you have at play on your planet at this time is a massive bifurcation. However, what you have here is a paradox, if you will. There are many beings in the left of the political spectrum, in the pro-government, pro-old government part of the political spectrum, who have been praying. They have been praying for help because costs are going up. They have been praying for health because they have been inflicted with sickness. They have been praying for love and connection because they've been isolated. And what we want you to understand is that spirit listens to your true heart's desires. Spirit does not look at your face, smiling when you are sad. It does not listen to your words, I'm okay, even when I'm not. It listens to your true heartfelt desires. And what has happened in this period is that the critical number of beings on this planet praying for transformation, help, love, fairness, and equality has reached a critical mass. We are not speaking about equity. We are not speaking about these subjects that are so controversial at this time in your government system that is wreaking havoc in so many places. We are not speaking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We here are speaking about spiritual evolution. It is natural for you to want to be free. It is natural for you to be creative. It is natural for you to love. Why is it natural for you to do these things? It is natural because you are made in the image of the Creator. And the Creator is free, creative, and loving, and you are made in the same way. However, you have been through deep indoctrination programs through your schooling system, through your televisions and your movies. And what you noticed during the COVID experience was that certain people who watched certain channels behaved in certain ways. And this is the evidence that you need to reflect upon when you are looking at your own inner world at this time. What and who are you watching? What and who are they talking about, and how are they talking about it? We want you to understand that there is an ascension process underway, and it is not going to stop. It is inevitable, and every single one of you is going to go through it. Now, these beings who are what we call Course in Miracles students have been dissolving their ego minds systematically for years and years. Many of you that are watching this on YouTube have listened to us for years and years talking about this clarification of mind that is necessary so that you regain your free will. And this is what we want to emphasize at this time, that it is so important for you to have your free will. And when you seek information that is in alignment with restriction, with dependency, with loss of freedom, with control, your mind is contaminated. It is not your true self. It is not your true nature that you are experiencing. And when you feel fear or confusion, worry about the future, that negative feeling that you are having is letting you know that you are off track. Those beings that are applauding the transformations and the changes, the change to equality, for example, we will refer to this in this idea of reciprocal tariffs that this being Mr. Trump is asking you all to participate in. This idea of treat your neighbors as you would have them treat you is the golden rule. And this is, in fact, what he is following. He is looking at what a certain country is doing to the United States, and he is saying, okay, good for the goose, good for the gander. And he is reciprocating. He is reflecting back to those countries what they are in fact doing to the United States. This is a new experience for them. They don't know what's happening. This is a more evolved system. Rather than one system, rather than one country paying for another country's benefit, it is now becoming equalized. Now, of course, if you think back to the marriage scenario that we talked about a little earlier, the person who is not in charge of their finances, who has been in a dependent relationship, is going to feel fear at any idea of leaving that coddling system. But from a spiritual point of view, we want you to understand that you have all come here to grow and to expand, to learn, to create, and to be your true selves. This does not work when you're restricted. This does not work when you're underpowered. This does not work when you're fearful. So what is happening now is an opportunity for everybody to feel their fear, to feel their hatred, to feel their judgment. You were given the first iteration of it during COVID. You got to see what people truly believed in, and the beings that truly believed in whichever side they took 2, 3, 4, 5 years later are beginning to see the true consequences of the thing that they believed in. The same thing is going to happen now. You are going to see what people believe in. Do they believe in strength, or do they believe in weakness? Do they believe in courage, or do they believe in cowardice? Do they believe in transparency, or do they believe in deception? This is what is happening right now, and it is for everyone's benefit. Because during the ascension process, everyone must see what they believe in. And they must use their free will to choose what they believe in. And when you choose what you believe in based on your own guidance, based on your inner feelings, then you will reap the harvest of that decision. Now, if that sounds like a threat, it is important for you to look at that. Because anybody who is in alignment with love, creativity, and freedom will not feel that that is a threat. So there's a clue for you there. If our words make you feel that you harvesting the crop from the ideas that you are strengthening and supporting now feels like a threat, that's a little bit of guidance for you. That's a little bit of fear, letting you know that you are off track. And so as you watch this play out on the news, which everybody is watching, we are astounded at the number of beings who are involved in this process. We want you to go inside and listen to whenever you feel fear. Whenever you feel fear by the world speaking to you, that's what's happening when you're on your TVs or your social media. The world is showing itself to you. You should not feel fear. What we want you to understand is that you are an eternal spiritual being. You are connected to the divine, and the divine is sending you messages of freedom, creativity, and love. And when you are in alignment with freedom, creativity, and love, you will not feel fear. You will feel good. You will feel eager anticipation. You will feel excitement. And that is the gift that has been given to you by the divine, your guidance system. However, as we have mentioned many times before, your guidance system can be overridden by deeply indoctrinated conditioning programs, and you are all faced with this in this society. You have no idea how deeply indoctrinated many of you are. Those beings who have been doing A Course in Miracles lessons and freeing their minds do begin to see how deeply indoctrinated they are and how their beliefs have led them astray in their choices. But we want you, whoever is listening to this on YouTube, we want you to understand that your feelings are clear. You always know how you feel. You always know whether or not you want to speak to that person, whether or not you want to go to work. You know always. And that is your guidance system. It is impeccable and constant, and you can trust it. It will not make you frightened. What makes you frightened is a threat to your ego mind and a threat to your conditioning programs. Conditioning programs are inserted into your mind, often with fear, often with intimidation, from your families, your churches, your religions, your TV, all of these things. You must understand that spiritual guidance will always feel good. It will always feel good. So if you are raging, if you are hurt, if you are terrified, understand that this is a survival response from the ego mind, and you are tapped into something that is not strong, that is vicious and violent and weak. Your guidance system, that thing that says, go over here and look at this fun thing, go over here and strengthen yourself, go over here and communicate lovingly with another person. That is guidance coming from spirit. And we are not saying that anybody on one side or the other has sole access to guidance. You all do. It is a gift given to you by the divine when you come into this separated state. It is designed to help you make decisions. And so that's what we want to point to at this time on the earth plane. You are in the ascension process. What that means is this, that anything in any idea that lives in your mind that is not loving is going to arise. It is going to come to the surface, and it is going to feel chaotic if it is acknowledged as the truth when in fact it is a lie. You do not need to fear. You are creative beings guided by the divine. You all have teachers and guides who are waiting to communicate with you, and in fact communicate with you all the time. If we can't communicate with you in the daytime, we will communicate with you in your dream state. So we would suggest that all of you that are struggling at this time, that you begin a dream journal and you ask to be shown how you can be helped during this time. If you are feeling fear, if you are feeling concern, your ego has been triggered. And that means that you have gone down into the most primitive part of your ability to think. For those of you that are joyous, that are exuberant, that see this as a good thing, you are more in alignment with truth. And we don't want to offend anybody here, but we will tell you that the two beings that are causing these ripples around the planet are indeed doing it as part of their blueprint, as part of their assignment to shake the world up. Why? Because the systems that have been at play on this planet for a very long time have not only revealed themselves to be dictatorial, but corrupt as well. Reflect back upon your COVID years. That was a dictatorial time when your freedoms were completely removed from you. Only those that had already learned that lesson were able to choose freedom. And there were a lot of people who chose freedom. We have told those beings, how did they know what to do? How did they know what to align with? And we say to you, you'd already learned that lesson. You didn't need to learn that lesson again. So those of you that feel fear or worry about the future, that are concerned about the actions that you are seeing playing out on this planet, we will say to you, you are in for your lesson. This is not a punishment. This is part of the ascension process. This is part of your spiritual evolution. And we want you to see your fears. When they surface, it means you know they're there. Tell them to speak to you. Write down what your fears are. Write down what you think is going to happen. That's bad. And understand that this is your subconscious mind revealing itself to you. It is scared. It is lonely. It feels that it lacks enough internal fortitude to be able to weather the storm. But that is a lie. That is not true. But you have to see it. You have to understand what's driving you. You have to understand what's driving those people who are terrified. They are in survival mode, the lowest form of consciousness that exists. It is the reptilian brain. It is the part of your consciousness that will kill to survive. So we ask all of you to rise above this battleground, to accept that this world is shifting, that this world is changing, and that these two beings that are flexing their muscles so extravagantly are indeed following spiritual guidance. Your world is in for massive shifts. We've been telling you this for a long time. We've been telling you to invest in tangible assets. We've been telling you to improve your homes, improve your health, all of these kinds of things, because when there's a storm, you need to be strong. When there's a storm, you need to know that your house, your home is secure, that your house is built on solid rock and not on shifting sands. So for those of you that feel destabilized, for those of you that feel that your home is not safe, that you're not safe, you have built it on shifting sands, and you need now to go to these teachings of love and forgiveness and joy. You need to understand that there are two streams of information coming through your consciousness. One from conditioning programs that are riddled with fear and death and deprivation, and another stream of messages coming from your guides and teachers that are going to help you. They're going to help you make decisions. They're going to strengthen you. They're going to assist you in understanding that you are not weak. You are a divine spiritual being, and you are here for a reason, because you wanted to evolve. You wanted to have this opportunity to grow. And now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. I am that one that you know as Jesus. My teachings 2,000 years ago were no different than this time. It was a time of oppression and control and high taxation, and people felt powerless, that they could not do anything to stop the tyrants that were ruling over them. I was teaching the same lesson then. You are divine spiritual beings. You may think you're an ordinary human. You've been told that you only have one vote and that's all you can do, and that is a lie. You are powerful beyond your ability to comprehend. You are loving beyond your ability to comprehend. You are loved beyond your ability to comprehend. And we want you to begin to step into your strength, step into your power, meditate, ask your guides and teachers to assist you in stepping into your power. You all have been given an assignment in this spiritual season. Many of you know what it is. You've had this feeling, I should be a teacher, I should be an artist, I should be a singer, I should be a gardener, I should be a daycare provider. Are you doing it? Now is the time to step away from codependent relationships with employers and governments, and to invest in yourself, in your education, in your health, in your investments, not only in yourself, but financially. Stop wasting money on things you don't need. Stop going into debt. Begin to manage yourself the way these radical transformers are beginning to manage the government. This is a demonstration for all of you that are behind the eight ball financially. Get your house in order, get your health in order, get your mind in order. You want to participate in the ascension. You do not want to be taking the wrong fork in the road. You do not want that. You want to be connected to your power source. You want to be connected to your spiritual guidance. And it is there that you will hear the truth. And it is there that you will be told the best path for you in these transformative times. So in closing, we want you to understand that these transformative times are for your benefit. They are for you to see how it's done. They are for you to see someone saying, no, we're not doing this anymore. It's not fair. It is time for you to see someone saying, this has been a really great gravy train for you. It is coming to an end. It's good for you to see these things. Are you on a gravy train somewhere? Have you been mollycoddling yourself too much? Have you been weakening yourself with a poor diet of bad TV and bad food? Look at the transformations that are happening in all of the major departments of the United States government. Seeking health, seeking justice, seeking freedom, seeking financial responsibility. These are demonstrations of good practices, and you can learn from them, all of you, even those of you that are in support of these transformative policies. Are you managing your household soundly? Are you managing your health soundly? Are you managing your words and your integrity soundly? So that's what we want you to do. This is a demonstration. Look at it. Don't get caught in the weeds. Don't get caught in the battles over minutiae. But look at this as an opportunity for you to see yourself reflected back to you. Are you strong, guided by good, guided by right, guided by fairness, but guided by even-handedness, guided by love? That is the question for each of you. What are you being guided by? If you feel excited at the things that you are watching, use that excitement to energize your life. Use that excitement to energize your purpose. Use that excitement to become eagerly anticipating your next step. Tomorrow, when you get up after you've listened to this pep talk, and that's what it is indeed, it is a pep talk, ask yourself, what can I do today to get closer to my purpose? What can I do today to be loving to myself first and then to others? And we want to remind you that loving yourself is perfectly fine. Suffering and sacrifice are not required, as many of you have been told. You've been told that they are holy, and they are not holy. They weaken you and they confuse you. God wants you to be happy. The Spirit wants you to be happy, and that's why happy feels so good. So align with happy, align with good, align with integrity, and begin to play this game yourself. It is going to be very beneficial to you in the coming years to be strong, to have integrity, and to align with love. We will speak to you again soon. Okay.
Thank you so much, Tina. Beautiful. Before I get to channeling, there is a question here for you
Okay.
where, let me see, hang on. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that is coming through here. I want to thank Ian for helping us pass the questions here so they can be read. There is a lot coming in.
Yes, I'm sure.
So, what would we do without him? So, the question here is from Dawn. She's wondering, just curious, when you channel Jesus but say we, who is we?
My understanding is that I is a very separation focused statement, and that's how we refer to ourselves is I want this or I want that. Jesus is clearly part of a collective. And that's why he says we so often. He's part of a collective. He's not working in isolation. I do, in fact, think he's part of Ananda, the group consciousness that first contacted me. Information about Jesus came through immediately through Ananda, and they are a group consciousness of 2,500 beings. So I believe that Jesus is part of Ananda, and so we is the natural word that you would use in a group. So I think that's why he uses the word.
Thank you very much. And let's see what Xina has to say. My name is Xina. My name is Xina Allen indeed. And what a joy. It is a pleasure for us to have the opportunity to commune with beings that are curious, beings that are open to entertaining the questions what if and why not. The beings that happen to be with us today are entertaining such questions, whether they are conscious of this or not. They are trying to figure out what if? What if this is a certain way? What if I start looking at the world differently? Why not entertain that possibly I don't know everything I think I know? And what if I don't know what anything is for? It is a pleasure for us because we see an opening. When a being questions, we see an opening. My name is Xina. I am not Xina. For those of you that have not been privy to our work before, my name is such because humans like to categorize, they like to label, and it calms your system down, your nervous system, to hear a name so that you can put it in one of your categories. But I am not Xina, I am consciousness. We are a collective of blue avian beings, And our mission with humanity through this being is to help simplify spiritual information so that you may break free. And the time is now, dear beings, and this is why we are so excited for this opportunity. Our message to you today is one of hope. If you are not feeling hopeful expectation and excitement at this time, which, by the way, it is the energy from which we transmit and which we hope touches your heart on this divine and sacred day, then there must be something inside of you that needs to be looked at. We will expand. We understand that there is much unrest on your plane at this time. We understand that there are many beings that are suffering and that are having a really hard time. And we're not talking about the beings that are at home watching the news, feeling bad about what is going on. We are talking about the beings that are being oppressed, the beings that are being censored, the beings that are being bombed at this time, that are being attacked, that are in the middle of war. Those beings have had and are having a very specific experience at this time. And those are not the beings that we are communicating about at this time. We are communicating about the beings that are home listening to our message, that are not active in what is happening, seemingly active in what is happening. Why do we use the word seemingly? Because all of you, all of us are creating this reality with our every thought. And it is important that you remember, even when you are at home in the comfort of your beingness, that every single thought that you are having is being uploaded to what we like to call the mothership or the main computer or the mainframe, if you will. That is what you come here for. You come here for experience, and your experiences are uploaded. But, dear beings, so are your thoughts. So, to those that are suffering and truly are not in the middle of this really, really tough situation, we say to you, this is a time to look within and ask yourself,
Yeah.
why are you suffering? Weird, I heard something. Is everything okay with the sound?
Delphi made a bark. Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm muting myself.
Okay, no problem. My name is Xina, and we are back. So we ask yourselves, what is going on inside of you? Because, dear loves, this is truly a time for excitement. We will explain. The changes that you are seeing in the world today, because although the topic for these two beings is the United States and the beings that you name Trump and you name Elon, although that is the topic, truly what is happening at a global scale. So why? Why is this taking place? This change is taking place because you are ready, because beings have been asking for change. They have been praying for change, and this is the effect of those prayers. The systems that have been put in place are systems that do not benefit the majority. They are benefiting a small elite, and the beings that are amassing to lots and lots and lots of financial wealth keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking while the masses continue to lose and lose and lose. So the systems that are at play are not beneficial to all. And what you are seeing at this time is the effects of all of you asking for change. But what is interesting is that you ask for change, and yet you don't want to go through the discomfort of change. Change is going to make you uncomfortable, dear loves, because even if you have a situation that is not beneficial for you, you are used to it. And when change comes, it makes you unsettled. So, our message to you, dear loves, is to remember that you have asked for change and to remember that the universe is a feedback loop that always brings back to you what you have put out. This is important because, dear loves, this is the time to align yourselves with love. This is the time to use your God given gift of free will and choose love rather than fear. And stand up for what you believe and be congruent, dear loves. It matters not on what side of the fence you are. It matters not if you are a Democrat or if you are a Republican, if you are conservative or if you are a liberal. It matters not. What matters, dear loves, is that you align yourselves with love. And our call for you today for sovereignty and for freedom is to remember that beings can disagree and yet you can coexist. This is being forgotten, even in the light of your prayers being answered. So you do not want the ego to override the beauty of what you have asked for, which is that change. You do not want the ego to take over. Now, this is not to say that the ego mind does not have its rightful place. We say this time and time again when we transmit. The ego has its rightful place, and that is to preserve your physical structure when it is needed. When you are crossing a busy street, when you are in danger in a whitewater rafting trip, whatever the case may be, it is there to preserve your structure, a structure that is allowing for a particular set of experiences. But other than that, dear loves, the ego is to be put in the back seat. And right now, even those that have been praying for change and are seeing the change are forgetting this and are allowing the ego to take over. And they are allowing for separation to continue. So we say to you, dear loves, take a pause, take a deep breath, and say, what is it that I stand for? What is important to me? Am I being congruent? And am I choosing love? If you take a pause and you ask yourselves these questions, you will better understand yourself and your motivations. What makes you tick? Why you do what you do? What you think and why. And in knowing thyself, dear love, you will know your other selves. Those beings that seem to be separate from you are you, having a different and valid experience. And we would love for you to remember that the next time that you're going to have a charged political discussion. It is okay to disagree, but it is important to respect each other, and that is possible. So again, we say, on whatever side of the issues you are, remember to agree to disagree with respect. And remember that boundaries are not healthy. And we become controversial when we say this because it has become mainstream, even in spiritual circles, that boundaries are an important thing. Let us make ourselves clear here. A boundary is separation. A boundary is not healthy. Now, what we mean with this is that it's important for beings to understand that it is not in bringing up walls around your heart and separating other beings, because really what you're doing is you're pushing yourselves away. What is important is to understand how to engage with the other beings and if or not to engage with them. We call this rules of engagement. No is a loving answer. And by the way, it's a complete sentence. So, yes, very often, no is the most important and the most loving way to engage with another being. Enough is enough. You respect me, I will respect you. But when this is forgotten, dear beings, the engagements and the interactions that you have with other beings are not propelling. In fact, by not paying attention to rules of engagement, you are creating, in effect, interactions that rather than propel, take from you. And you are seeing this in society projected seemingly outside of you for you to do something about it. So what you're seeing is a lot of taking, a lot of taking, a lot of taking. And this taking is coming out to the light. For what? For forgiveness. We remind you that forgiveness does not mean condoning. Forgiveness understands that whatever is happening around you in your realm is an effect of your choices. Whatever is happening around you is from within you, from your thoughts. It's an effect, it's the product, it's not the root cause. So if you want to see change, and this is an amazing time for change, then we say, go within and understand yourselves and practice forgiveness. Attacking the beings from the other political party or attacking the beings from the other church or the other faith or the other religion is what has continued to escalate the wars that you see today, the violence and the aggressions that you see today. So if you start within and you say, where am I contributing to these issues? What is my role in these creations? Then, dear loves, you start changing the world that you see. It is that simple. It is simple indeed. So we invite you to become a part of the solution, and we invite you to become the powerful creator or accept or embody the powerful creator that you are. Because what you are seeing in the world, you are co-creating. You may want to say, there is no way that I am participating in that war. I think it's atrocious. I do not stand for war. Well, dear loves, when you attack others in any way around you, that is reflected across the world. When you attack yourself, that is reflected across the world. It is reflected everywhere. The form changes, but the essence is the same. If it is not made of love, it is projected as not love. And here you have an amazing opportunity, dear loves, to change your mind and choose love. This is the time. This unprecedented time that you are living in, well, all time is unprecedented, but we use words that you can understand, is the perfect storm, let's call it, for you to choose differently, for you to show up differently. What does that mean? Well, if you have been complaining about the political situation in your country, this is a time to do something about it. If you are able to, you can go ahead and become an activist, or you can become engaged in your local government or beyond. If that is not for you, then perhaps you start at a smaller, let us say, level in just beautifying your city, in teaching principles of A Course in Miracles, in engaging in community activities, engaging in bringing people together in one form or another. This is a time to take action. As we often say, it is important for beings to remember that knowledge without action is truly a liability. Dear humans, the time is now. And this is a time for excitement. This is a time to recognize and embrace and encourage those interactions that propel rather than take. It is a time for you to realize that as the creators of this reality, you are powerful. And that if you change your mind, and if each one person changes their mind, the world changes. And that is the miracle, the change of mind. So, dear loves, we invite you to look in and join in the hopeful expectation and excitement, and join at the physical level in whatever way that you can in a forward momentum. We also invite you to become aware and embody the fact that you are the creator. You are the one infinite creator. That is how powerful you are. So if that is the case, you are not a victim of what is happening. And these beings that you call Donald Trump and Elon Musk are simply catalysts, catalysts for change that you have been asking for. So, on whatever side of the issue you are, if you see that these catalysts are bringing about change, can you call it bad? There is no bad and no good. It seems very difficult for beings to understand this at this level of consciousness, and we recognize that. But if you understand that this illusion is of your making in order to evolve, in order to experience a dualism that does not truly exist, then you're going to understand that without the polarization towards service to self and service to others, humanity does not evolve. And it has happened. There have been times where humans have not evolved. In fact, they have devolved because of the absence of catalysts. So, if you own what is happening right now as part of your creation, if you, well, if you preclude yourself from judgment and separating yourself from other beings, then you're going to own this creation and you're going to position yourself from the vantage point from which you can change the world. One being can change the world, and they can do so by changing their mind. So, dear loves, we say to you, own your creations and make the choice, because the choice is yours, to align yourselves with love. That is what you are here for. If you carry out that mission of centering yourself with love, speaking of love, and becoming congruent, you are going to be better off. You're going to weather the storm better. The storm is here, and you have brought it upon yourselves, not as punishment, but as the answer to your prayers. So, how about you rejoice? How about you connect with that energy and you say, yes, I see the opportunities here. I see that humanity in many ways has lost its way. I see the injustices. I see the violations. That is not the world that I want to see. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do what is in my power to change the world. And it might be, dear loves, in the quiet of your own home. It might be in the quiet of your own hearts. In fact, that is where it begins. We understand that these times of unrest bring a lot of anxiety in beings, and we would like to talk about time. We had a transmission earlier in the language that you call Spanish, where we were speaking about time and the belief of humans in time. If you understand that time is a construct of your mind and it's an idea that you put together in order to assist in your learning, then you detach yourselves from the present. We correct ourselves, the past and the future that does not exist. And you stay in the present moment, knowing that that is all that is real. So from this present moment, dear loves, take a good look around you and see what you see. We would suspect that what you see around you is peace and quiet. Well, there might be some of you that might be walking outside and there is a little bit of a kerfuffle, but most of you are sitting in front of a device with the beautiful opportunity of receiving energy that is unconditionally loving. So, why not remain in the present moment? The present is all that exists. The now moment is eternal, as are you. If you align yourself with that truth, then, dear loves, you position yourselves, once more we say this, to change the world. Apply forgiveness where forgiveness is due. And remember that you are creating the situations that you are seeing outside of you, and that what you see there is an answer to your prayers. The systems that are at play at this time are systems that are not loving and that are not beneficial to the majority. So, why would you want them to continue? Ask yourselves. So, yes, we understand that change is difficult, and we understand that seeing these systems fall is a bit unnerving. But what is the alternative? The alternative is to continue in the same direction that you are going, and we have heard your prayers. Most of you are not happy with the way things are going. So, are you the agent of change? And if so, what are you willing to do? Dear loves, knowing that you are the one infinite creator and that you can be part of the solution, this would be a really good time to get clear and say, I want to be part of this change. I want to be a loving human being. I want to be of service to others by loving myself first, by knowing myself first, and then by being of service in the best way I can. As long as you are on this earth plane, seemingly, you are able to change your mind. It is never too late. If you are suffering because you have lost your job as part of these changes, then understand that you created that even if you don't know it. Understand that it is a gift, even if it doesn't seem so right now. There is always a gift. If you radically accept what you have created, then you're going to be able to see the gift in the situations that you have created. And it really does beat thinking that you are an innocent victim rather than a powerful creation of a subjective reality. The time is now, dear loves, and the time is now. It is time to stand up for what you believe. It is time to align yourselves with joy. We say this often. Happiness comes and goes. It is fleeting, and it is usually dependent on things seemingly outside of you, people, places, happenings, etc. But joy is your birthright. Joy is who you really are. Align yourself with that sentiment, with that beautiful sentiment that joy is, and you are going to change the world. Dear loves, align yourselves with excitement. This is a great time for this. This is a time that is bringing the opportunity for you to show up differently. Do not waste it. See it for what it is, and be humble enough to understand that what is going on, you may not see as it truly is. So be humble enough to wonder, oh, what if this is not what I think it is? Okay, I will continue operating from a place of love. That is the choice, love or not love. My name is Xina Allen. We appreciate the opportunity to commune with you on this divine day. We appreciate the opportunity to transmit love to you in the energy of hopeful expectation and excitement. We will speak again.
Thank you, Carol and Xina. Before we get to questions, I just want to let you know that Carol's website is xinaallen.com, and that lovely symbol that you see behind Carol there is one of her attunements. She has transmitted almost 80, I think now, attunements, and these are graphic messages from Xina that are designed to assist us in our ascension process. So go to xinaallen.com and have a look at Carol's amazing work. And of course, go to channelingjesus.com and have a checkout of my stuff. If you haven't read any of my books, they're wonderful books that are designed to help us during this time. So 10 years ago, I was given the assignment of writing all of these books, and they are designed for this time. So if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling worried, go go to channelingjesus.com and you can check out some of those books there. And they're easy reads, they're transformative, but they are from Jesus and Ananda for this time. So question Q&A, Carol. How are we going to do this?
Thank you, Tina. Okay, so Ian has been kind enough to pass me the questions here. So I am going to scroll and read some questions. So we have a question here from Karen Burks. She asks, question for Jesus. Please clarify the role of the ascended masters in this evolution of consciousness. Can we ask them for guidance and assistance, or should we just ask you and God?
You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. You will have an affinity with a certain spiritual master. This being here, for example, has an affinity with the being you know as Jesus. And so that is who she talks to. Dear Carol has an affinity with Xina and Jesus and Ananda, or different kinds of teachers and guides. You can trust your own guidance. What is it that you are attracted to? Are you attracted to a Buddhist teacher or a Christian teacher? Are you recovering from an intense Christian upbringing where you only feel comfortable talking to God or to the Jesus Christ that you understand is the Son of God? You know who you are aligned with, and that is as it should be. Ascended master teachers do not have egos with which to be offended. So you do not need to worry about offending anyone. It is your guidance that you want to listen to. It is your heart that is going to lead you to the correct place for you. Now, there are many, many beings who are assisting Earth at this time, and you all have guides and teachers individually assigned to you. However, because of your secular training in many cases, and because of your social programming in many cases, you have designed very, very busy lives that do not have a lot of space and openness and quiet to listen to that spiritual guidance. But it is impeccable and it is constant. And it is that feeling deep inside that there must be something else, that there must be meaning, that there must be something more for you to do. These are the little nagging voices that spirit will cause you to feel. The ego's voice is loud and raucous, and it is very, very quick. It is the voice that says, oh, yes, have a martini if you're stressed. Don't worry about training your mind. Have another drink. It says, go to the mall and spend some. It doesn't matter if you don't have the money. Go shopping. It makes you feel better. You will feel the difference between the voice for God and the voice of the ego. You must begin to trust your own inner world. Why is the world so distracting? Why are there so many loud, shiny objects out there? To distract you from your inner world. That is why the world is the way it is. It is designed as a distraction. Do not think that your spiritual practice is going to lead to a boring life. These two beings do not have boring lives. They have the most exciting and adventurous lives that you can imagine. And this is something that many people are afraid of. They are afraid of going inside and quietening down and reflecting upon their inner world, their inner, true inner thoughts, because they are scared of what's in there. Perhaps their inner thoughts don't agree with the decisions they've made in life. But your guides and teachers are there to assist you, and they will assist you when you ask them to. We cannot force our will on you. You have free will. You can choose whatever you want, whomever you want, what idol you wish to worship. It is a place of free will here, and that is how many of you, of course, get into trouble. You choose the wrong God to worship, the wrong idol to follow, but you have this guidance system and you will know this is not working for me. I don't feel happy here. This isn't suiting me. That is your inner guidance saying, okay, it's time for change now. So trust your inner self, but do, if you have the knowledge that you have been deeply indoctrinated, which you all have, to tell the truth, we do recommend that you do the lessons of A Course in Miracles to regain your free will truly, to get to know yourself internally and to replace your fearful ideas with loving concepts. That is our answer.
Thank you, Tina. Okay, we have a question here from David for Xina. Trump and his team are a breath of fresh air for now at least. They are doing a great job so far in such a short time in power. They hit the ground running this time. How do blueprints keep a person alive with such a wanted dead or alive poster on his head? JFK spoke out about secret societies and that got him off Earth quick smart. I feel that Trump is way more of a threat to the establishment than JFK ever was. Do the prayers of so many people assist in his safety and his own trust in God keeps him safe? Thank you for Xina.
Great question.
Mm-hmm. My name is Xina. My name is Xina Allen indeed. It is important for beings to understand, yes, the power of prayer. Prayer is a way to direct your energy towards what you want. Many beings do not know what they want and they still create. You are always creating, and it is important for you to understand this. If you are not conscious, you are still automatically creating, and you are creating a mixed bag of goods because you are not present. You are not in the here and in the now, and you are unconscious. When you pray, you effectively are directing your energy towards what you want. If you have the clarity, in this case, for example, that you are excited about what these beings are doing and you pray for their safety, yes, you contribute to that creation of that reality in your timeline. We were explaining time earlier, not in this transmission, but earlier, again, in the language you call Spanish, where all there is the present moment. Time is not linear as you think. So there are multiple timelines, if you want to call them that, that are happening in the present moment. Reality is way more complex than you know it. Based on your frequency and on your understanding and on your creations, whether conscious or not, and therefore on your prayers, you start shaping up a reality that is going to fit your frequency. If your frequency is such that whatever outcome is going to bring you joy, you are going to create that outcome. But if you are not in alignment with that, you're going to create a different outcome. So even if everyone is on earth, there are multiplicity of realities going on concurrently. So there will be those realities where this being is taken out, and there will be those realities where the being continues. And it all depends on the frequency of the being based on your thoughts, your choices, and your actions, and also on the soul's path. So each soul decides before coming to this incarnation what are the milestones that they need to accomplish, that they need to hit in order for their evolution to take place. If such soul decides to use their free will to increase their frequency, regardless of what is happening around them, they are going to miss those milestones or meet them in a way that is less difficult for them in an incarnation. Such is the case for these beings that you call Donald Trump and even the one that you call Elon Musk. If you look at them, they are making bold and brave moves, whether you agree with them or not. They are bold and they are brave, very courageous because they do not conform to the globalist agenda and they do not conform to the status quo. So again, whether you agree or not, they are change makers. And changing things that people are comfortable with takes a lot of courage. And you become, in a certain way, a target. So they're using their free will to increase their frequency and carry out their missions. So if they continue to align themselves with love in their decisions, whether you understand them or not, those are your judgments, they are going to miss those targets or those milestones, they're going to rise above them. So if for any reason Donald Trump had in his blueprint to be taken out and he chose to increase his frequency, he missed that mark. And we are not saying that that is what is happening. We cannot divulge that information without infringing on his free will. What we are saying is that he had the choice to up his frequency or not, as do you. If he chose differently, perhaps he would have been taken out. So, what we want you to understand from this question is that there is a blueprint that the soul chooses for an incarnation. And that blueprint has the major milestones. And in between, there is free will. So you can choose your free will to rise above that battleground and not have to hit those marks. These beings are using bravery, and they are using techniques that you might or might not be understanding. But these beings indeed are being brave. We love you. Okay, I hope, David, that answers your question. And for everyone, I hope that is helpful. Okay, so many questions. Let me see. Tina, most start for you.
We could go for like 10 hours with all the
I
questions.
know, I know. Let's see here. There is a question here. They are asking, Tina, Jesus, what transformation is coming to Canada, please?
Oh, good one.
Since you are Canadian, you might be interested in that answer too.
Yes, I am. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. You are witnessing in the country you know as Canada as a revelation that is similar to the one in the United States. It is, we will say, 8 or 10 months behind the one that you are experiencing in the United States. And there is going to be a big sloshing over of the transformations in the United States into the Canadian voting public. You are, if you are a Canadian, experiencing extreme high levels of inflation, the inability to pay your mortgage, the inability to speak freely, the inability to get news from around the world. The thumbscrews of socialism are encroaching upon the Canadian people, and they are feeling it deeply. As you may recall, the polite and quiet Canadian people got a little annoyed during COVID and they came out in droves. And we want to bring to mind to you the trucker convoy in February of 2022. These beings braved the cold. They braved the icy winds of the Canadian weather, not knowing how many of them there were. This was a most moving time for Canadians because they were feeling oppressed. They were feeling controlled. They were feeling abused by their government. And they all went out in their coats and their mukluks and their toques. We are using Canadian words there. You may not know what those mean. They are furry boots and hats. And then the Canadians saw how many of them there were. They saw how many were unhappy with the status quo. They saw how many were unhappy with what the government was doing. And there was a massive shift in the Canadian population at that time. You will see lines of tractors and lines of other vehicles around the world that copy the trucker convoy, knowing that people with big machines can indeed inconvenience the government. And so that was the sea change in the Canadian people. However, the Canadian people have not been given the benefit of a free and open election since that time. There has been interference in the election that has taken place a few years ago. This is going to come to light in the revelations that are coming from the United States. It is going to be discovered that there was interference in those elections and the free will of the Canadian people was not listened to. You will notice now that the Canadian government is doing the same thing, prolonging this drawn out time so that they can try and change the minds of Canadians with superficial stories. But they do not realize what has happened during the last few years. The average Canadian now sees that if this government continues, they cannot live. They cannot keep their homes. They cannot make their truck payments. They cannot put gas in their cars. They are getting to the end of their tether as they did with the mandates. And so the government of Pierre Trudeau's son will be overthrown. Now, that was what you call a Freudian slip. The son followed in the footsteps of the father. The father, however, is not the one that you think. The father is someone else. And you know that story if you have been following the news. What we say to you is that there has been a infiltration of the Canadian government by strong left-leaning socialist communist influences, and Canadians are not those things. However, there is a convention within the older populations of Canada to trust the government, to trust CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and they are deeply entrenched in their belief system. But the reality for young families is not that. Many of these older beings who follow these old, traditional, established systems are more established in their finances. They have bought and paid for their home, or they have created a business and reaped the rewards of those businesses. However, young people who are in their 20s or 30s, 40s, trying to raise kids with these prices are not going to go for it. So what we will tell you is this: despite the shenanigans of the Liberal Party, there will be a Conservative government and it will turn the tide. It will negotiate to use the resources that Canada is so beautifully gifted with. And we will say this to you: the reason that Trump has attacked Canada is to wake it up. It can sink into complacency. It has the effect of the British influence. It is not founded on free will and happiness and joy as the United States was. It is ruled by the British crown still. They swear an allegiance to the crown when they become prime minister. And so there is this effect on the population. But we will tell you the realities of the cost of living is going to turn the tide. Trump is not going to turn Canada into the 51st state as much as he would like it. However, Canada and the United States are going to become much more closely allied once the Conservative government gets in, understanding that they both benefit from shared resources, shared trade, and fair and equitable arrangements. So you will see a Conservative government coming into the Canadian realm, and you will see a much closer alignment. There will not be a battle between the Conservative government and the United States government. There will, in fact, be great discussions on how to facilitate the benefit of both countries. So that is what we see in the future. We understand that there is great concern about Donald Trump flexing his muscles, but we want you to understand and just look at what is happening. There are discussions about peace. There are discussions about tariffs. There are discussions about borders. None of these things were happening before. He has flexed his muscles. He's scared a few people. He's scared a few governments, and they are running around trying to figure out how the heck to manage him. And that is his MO. It is to come in full force and wake people up. That is his job in the ascension, to wake people up. And that is what you are going to continue to see over the next couple of years.
Okay, Tina, we are 5 minutes left. What do you want to do?
Do you want to do one more Xina question?
Okay, let's see. We have a very long Xena question here. I don't know if that one is a good idea for right now. It's really long. Let me see what else. Most are for you, not surprisingly. Um, Let me go through these, guys. Thanks for your patience. There's a lot coming in.
I also want you to admire how Carol can channel and then do Q&A questions. She's very talented lady.
Thank you. Multitasking here
You
as
know
my
what I
son.
think? I think what I'll do is I'll get some of these questions from you this evening, and I'll do another video answering some of these questions because I understand we did the long channeling, and I'm sure it's always frustrating for people when we do a Q&A because we can't answer them all. So why don't we do that? If you want, if you, why don't we do that? We'll round this off now, and
Okay.
I will get the
Okay.
questions from you, and I'll do another video tomorrow or the day after.
Sounds good because yes, the majority of the questions, of course, are for you, and there are some very long questions here for Zena, and we have three
Okay.
minutes left.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's just round it off there. Do you have any closing words that you'd like to say about Xena or your community or anything like that, Carol?
Well, first, I want to thank everyone for being here. You guys could be anywhere right now, and you chose to be here. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are. So, thank you very much for being here. And thank you for the work that you do, because the work that you are trying to do in clarifying your mind is having a direct impact on the collective consciousness. So, don't give up on your practice of forgiveness and choosing love. Please continue doing that. And please continue listening to your inner guidance. Whatever you hear, whether from us or from any other source, please continue using your inner guidance to decide what resonates with you. And if something resonates, pretty please do something with it. As far as my work is concerned, yes, I do manage Tina's business as a part time basis, but I also have my own spiritual practice and community. So Ian has been kind enough to put on the chat both of our websites. I do private channeling sessions, I do mentorship, and I do have a private paid community and a free one. So if you would like to know more about Zena's work, please go to xinaallen.com. And again, Tina, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, everyone, thank you for joining us. I find this time very, very exciting. Just remember that the world is the ego's playground. This is where we get to see the shadows of people and governments and all of that stuff. And we are assigned to rise above the battleground. And it is above the battleground that you'll find peace. It is above the battleground that you will find love and guidance from your guides and teachers. So do your very best to remain peaceful and calm and joyful in your own life. Focus on your own life and how you can make it better. Because when you are happy and you are functioning at a high frequency, you affect the world. Do not believe that you are powerless. You are not. You are made in the image of the divine, and you have been given tremendous creative power. So thank you for listening to both of us today and listening to Jesus and Ananda. And if you aren't already, please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for a day or so, and I will answer some more of these questions about this situation. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.